And welcome to Veterans in Politics. My name is Troy Ethan Warren. I'm here with Jim Jonas today. Steve's running a little bit behind. Got any thoughts on that there, Jim?
No, it's campaign season, and so he's running all over the place. He's got a very busy guy, so yeah, that's it's interesting. Actually, Steve has been doing really well. When I first met Steve, him and I actually were. We were late for the show more than we were on time sometimes. We've actually done rants from his phone.
Called in.
Yeah, on speaker as we were driving up. You can hear me breathing hard as I'm running up the stairs talking.
Wow.
So.
Well, we've got a few minutes here. There's a lot of stuff going on this week. We got Cruz dropping out. Kasich finally wised up. He dropped. Well, they didn't drop out. They suspended their campaign, so there's kind of a gray area of how that's actually going to look. Do you think there still might be a brokered convention?
You know what? Honestly, I don't see a brokered convention. I think I think both of them finally just understood that it's kind of interesting the way it's going to happen anyway. I predict that this is going to be a lot like 64 with Goldwater.
Right.
I think you're going to see a split this year in the Republican Party. I think you already have like elite establishment people like Bush, saying that they weren't going to back him. And, you lose the backing of the Bush family. But same thing happened in 64, and it actually wasn't a bad thing for the party. So for me, if it clears out some of the rhinos, I'm all for it. They can do whatever they want. I do think it'll be interesting to see who he picks as Trump picks as his running mate, because it's got to be between, in my opinion, it has.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Newt Gingrich, Jim Webb?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just talking. I'm not saying those would be the
Sarah Palin.
I'm not saying those. Oh, I would never go for Sarah Palin. Nice lady, and she is. She's even more attractive in person than she is on TV too. I got to meet her in 2008 at the Laughlin Searchlight Tea Party rally. Yeah,
in Searchlight of all places.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't right in Searchlight. It was right outside of Searchlight. Yeah, they held it in Harry Reid's backyard.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it was about 60-mile-an-hour gusting winds that day. It was.
Well, for me personally, I was a Republican until October 26, 2001, when the Patriot Act was signed, and I said, you know what, screw you, I'm done, and kind of went to the independent route, which I'm a registered libertarian now. But the thing that kills me the most is in watching this whole thing play out with the primaries and getting their party's nomination and stuff. It's about the party. It's about the elitists in the Republican and the Democratic parties. It's not even about America and its citizens anymore. Yeah. And I hope people are paying attention to what's going on, because if we as American citizens don't get out and do something about this, I mean, I hate to tell Bush and all these other assholes, dude, you do not know what's best for me. You do not know what's best for my family.
No, they don't. But you know what's going to be interesting, Troy, is here's another thing I predict is going to happen. I bet you that that on the Democrat side, Sanders is really kicking up a fuss talking about how the way that the Democrat primary is even worse than the Republican
with the superdelegate stuff?
Yeah, the superdelegates. So he's saying that if he doesn't get nominated, he still expects, with the millions of voters that he's gotten over 9 million votes.
It's pretty strong.
Then he wants a piece in setting the agenda for whoever the candidate is. And if he doesn't get it, he's going to ask his supporters to go to somebody who treats them fairly. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it does. Well, what he should do is what he should do is attempt to create the super duper delegates.
Right.
Because they make up crap all the time. So why don't they just create a super duper delegate and then then that way he can trump Hillary.
Yeah, it actually probably wouldn't be a bad idea. That would be kind of funny to see that, actually. It's just this is the reason why, honestly, that, in all seriousness, this is why good people don't run. Because like we were talking just briefly before we came on air about Paul Ryan, and I told you, I've met the guy, and he's just super sharp and smart, and he has all these wonderful ideas that I really think would benefit the country. And I was excited when he decided to go ahead and be the speaker. and then, he got sucked into the trap just like everybody else. So it's like even the guys that I think have good intentions and have some good ideas for the country, once they get sucked into that whole Washington inner circle thing, it's just partying.
Look what happened at our own legislature in 2015. Yep. I mean, all of those rhinos got sucked into there too. Got taken to the governor's mansion. Next thing you know, we've got a big tax shoved down the businesses, which basically is going to be a tax on everybody. Yeah. So it's just a lack of integrity these days. It seems like I'm telling you I'm going to do this, and then turn around and do something else.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, this is a good segue into getting into our guests. So we have it's a 2-hour show today. And in the first hour, we're going to have Brent Jones. He's the sitting assemblyman for Assembly 35, and he's running for re-election, obviously. And then we also have Sean Connell, who's running for District Court Judge Department 13. We will have him after Brent, and then we will move into our second hour. But speaking of rhinos and people going up there and not doing what they said they were going to do, after commercial, we'll come back in with Brent Jones, because he's the guy that did exactly what he said.
What he said he was going to do.
And he's created this contract with Nevada that I want to get in and talk to him about, because I really think it's going to be good for the state.
Yeah, me too. Well, this is Jim Jonas, and this is Troy Ethan Warren. When we come back, hopefully we'll have Steve with us, and we're going to have a conversation with Brent Jones, Assemblyman, District 35.
Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services have been serving Nevada. Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services, the reliable option for your legal and tax matters. The original do-it-yourself legal source store with paralegals, registered document preparers, and enrolled agents to assist you when you need it. Need help getting divorced, starting your business, or just filing your taxes? Nevada Legal Forms is there for you. Nevada Legal Forms has over 1,000 legal forms and do-yourself kits for all your everyday matters. Nevada Legal Forms, the best place to start. Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services is not a law office or have attorneys on staff and cannot give legal advice.
Nevada Legal Forms, Charleston and Valley View. Call 702-870-0977 or online at nevadalegalforms.com.
Hi, my name's Annette Levy. Did you know that we usually elect judges based solely on name recognition? So here goes. My name's Annette Levy. My name's Annette Levy. My name's Annette Levy. Now, for those of you who might want to know a little more, I have 29 years legal experience, 15 years arbitrator, 11 years judge pro tem. I'm ethical. I'm experienced. I want to be your district court judge in Department 20. And by the way, my name's Annette Levy.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Annette Levy. If you'd like to know more, visit her website at electannette.com.
My name is Heidi Hanus, and I'm a marriage and family therapist. I recently opened my own practice under the name of Faith Individual and Family Counseling in the area of Summerlin. I have been practicing family therapy for 14 years, and I work well with individuals, children, teens, couples, and most of all, families. I have experience in a variety of areas, which include family conflict, communication issues, grief, anxiety, depression, anger issues, addiction, adjustment to life changes, trauma, and most forms of mood disorder. The agency work I have done has given me the experience to work with all levels of issues from severe to mild. I believe in change and positive outcome. If you are interested to begin change, you can reach me at 702-370-4244 or hanusa@cs.com. Thank you.
Paul Pata Law is a proud sponsor of Veterans and Politics. Attorney Paul Pata, a former federal prosecutor, is ready to fight for you. If you've been injured in a car accident, call Paul. Been a victim of a medical malpractice at the VA? Call Paul. Suffered a slip and fall? You better call Paul. Paul Pata Law, 702-366-1888. That's 702-366-1888. Or check us out on the web at paulpadda.com. That's paulpata.com. You fought for our country, now let us fight for you at Paul Pata Law.
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jim Jonas, Troy Warren, and Steve will be joining us shortly. Before we get to Assemblyman Jones, I just want to clear up an error I made going into commercial. Sean Connell, that's with us, he's actually running for Justice Court Department 3. I had stated it was Department 13, so I just wanted to make sure I cleared that up. And we'll be interviewing him after Assemblyman Jones. So, Assemblyman Jones, how you doing this afternoon?
Excellent. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, we're very glad to have you on. First thing I wanted to kind of talk to you about is where the idea for the contract with Nevada came from. Did you think back to 1994 contract with America, or?
Well, of course it was a template, but the reason why is because I noticed all these Rhino Republicans. I heard you guys talking about it briefly. All these Rhino Republicans sold us out, and that's why Trump is so popular, because people are sick of these establishment goons, right? The establishment cartel. So the only people that didn't vote for the taxes were the tax pledge signers, except for one, which was John Hambrick, who sold out really early on. And it's funny because John was supposed to be the poster guy for the tax pledge for 2 years or a couple of years before that. I actually have a picture with him and Alan Stock getting it, but he sold out. But everybody else that stood firm, they signed the contract. And all the guys that made promises, oh, my word is my bond, and I will never raise taxes, and I'm for smaller government, all those guys, they sold out and pushed the tax package through. So I thought, you know what? If people actually have the integrity, or they have to put their signature on something, that creates another level of integrity. Right. So what we did is we surveyed what were 10 most important issues for people in Nevada, particularly Republicans, conservative Republicans. And the people that were willing to sign that onto it, those are the ones that we're actually helping back. So I'm backing a bunch of candidates that are going against incumbents and open seats that are helping them with everything from walkers to their ground game to the packages like I give you guys with the real water and fortune cookies and all this stuff that we know is very successful in getting the word out with mailers and stuff. So the contract is 10 common sense principles, such as, first of all, repeal the commerce tax, which is big, get rid of Common Core. Actually, one of the biggest things that when we surveyed that people that I had no idea wasn't on my radar is they want police cams on Metro cops. And, that protects the honest ones against people that make allegations, but then it also persuades the dishonest ones, which are very few, but there's always a few bad apples, from not doing it because they're going to be on camera. So that's one big thing. The bathroom bill, which was big in the Trump campaign recently, which was, the transgender. We had that up there, but again, all the Rhino candidates fought against it, which is a Republican principle. I have a little daughter. She's 2 years old now. I don't want her at 13 years old having a guy being able to go in her bathroom when she's in those formative years where she's self-conscious, everything else. I just think it's crazy to think that we can allow guys with male genitalia to go in the girls' bathroom.
It's ludicrous.
It's just, as a father. And then parental consent, not notification, not consent. Not even consent. Do you know right now that your daughter, if or your child can't get an aspirin without your permission, but they could take a 13, 14-year-old girl to Planned Parenthood and have her get an abortion and not even notify you? She could come back all just depressed and just bummed out, and you would have no idea because she just had this procedure, an abortion procedure. So we want, until she's 18, at least notification. Not even consent, just notification. Right. That's how liberal our society's moved on some of these things.
Dude, that's really common sense stuff, That's way out there.
And the contract is all common sense stuff. But I want to get into the nitty gritty about this lawsuit that's been all over the news. You guys don't want to talk about that?
Oh no, well we had to segue into it, but yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Well, so I just I wanted to have you kind of give more of a background about it. We had Steve Sanson's here now.
The big dog is in the house.
Yep, Steve's here. So good thing we weren't recording any of this, George. All the bad stuff I said about Steve before he got here. But before we get to the lawsuit, real quick, Assemblyman, I would like to ask one more question. I have never asked you this question. What actually got you motivated to want to get involved in politics? Because you're a successful businessman. Why venture into politics, into that, like now after serving up there for a couple of years, this just kind of a scummy business kind of?
Okay, well, I was born and raised in California, and California is paradise. I was 12 miles from the beach, Ventura County, right by Santa Barbara, a town called Ojai, beautiful. All my family's there, everything else. But as a businessman, I could not be in California anymore. So I left. I moved to Nevada. Now, Nevada, this is a nice place, obviously, but the desert compared to paradise, there's a little bit of difference, okay?
Right.
And as a businessman, I just saw this creep coming in with bigger and bigger government. And then in our federal level, I said, you know what? Democrats, their whole job is to take from people that produce. People that produce keep on saying, oh, here's another hurdle I got to deal with. But at some point, us guys that produce value for society, we have got to stand up and say, we need to take this country back, because if we just keep on worrying about produce, it's on a hamster trail. It's getting harder and harder and harder to keep up. Somebody's got to start fighting back. And I decided, I've got to run because people aren't standing up. And also with integrity, I saw, I first started Elizabeth Halseth. She was the girl in my district. And talk about a sellout and she was supposed to be a Republican too. And I go, we can't keep having people like this represent us that have no integrity, say whatever they want to say. So that's why I got in office. And trust me, it's not fun. You get attacked, you get bombs thrown at you, but somebody's got to do it. And that's why I'm glad Steve's also running, because he's taking on one of these rhino guys. I mean, the worst,
Rhino.
Paul Anderson.
Yeah.
He's beyond rhino. But the craziness of it is, like, guys like him and Roberson and Derek Armstrong, who my son's running against, they're out promoting that they lowered taxes.
I know. I see those commercials.
Like, can you have integrity whatsoever? It's crazy. So it's our job to educate. Luckily, primary voters are the most educated voters, not the general. General can be hoodwinked. So we've got to get these guys swept out during the primary. And if people want our country just to go down the tubes, then just stand by and watch it happen. But if you want to take it back and get us back to where we are the most successful country on the planet in history because of personal responsibility, limited government, free market principles, all those things made us great. Why go the way of socialism and communism? Look at Danny Glover and Sean Penn were down in Venezuela just 8 years ago saying, workers' paradise, Hugo Chavez, this is awesome. All those rich people are evil. All those capitalists are evil. Get shell oil out of here. This is great. They don't even have toilet paper now. I just read now they don't have beer, so they're really getting pissed because they can't even have beer, let alone food. Toilet paper and food, they were, I guess, putting up with, but now they don't have beer. This was just in the news earlier today. But look, it doesn't work. It never has, never will. It doesn't work. Free market principles work. So thanks to guys like Steve and you guys. You guys are fighting. Troy, you too, although I wish you had an R behind your name instead of the L, but I understand.
He said the L is for lucky.
Lucky.
He ain't gonna be lucky this time.
But it's better than libtard. At least it's libertarian, but it still is too confused with libtard.
Well, you and I agree pretty much on everything. So, the Libertarian Party, the reason why I even went with them is because I got so jacked by the IAP. At least they're helping me with my website. They're supporting me in areas with that. And when I get up there, I'm with you. Like, no Common Core, get rid of the commerce tax. We need to fix this education system, because now both my kids have already been through it. I actually graduated from this, the school district, and you've got some coming up, so we got to fix this stuff.
No, I know it. The ESAs are a great first step. Get rid of the 100-day rule, expand those. Trust me, I'll be using those if they get through the court, which I expect they will.
Yeah.
But again, there's another example. The governor told all these people, okay, if you give all this extra money to the union cartel run, government monopoly run education system, we'll let you do this ESA program. Then whose law firm is it you think sued on the ESAs? You guys know?
No, actually I don't.
Hutchinson's
Mark
law firm.
Hutchinson.
Oh,
Yeah, the lieutenant governor. So here's the lieutenant governor is the law firm that's suing to stop the ESAs. So again, it's just violation of trust, betrayal after trust, one after another. And that's why Donald Trump has raised up, because he's not the establishment.
Well, I can tell you this. You're obviously making waves because you're in the news a lot lately. You want to speak to that?
Well, they brought a bunch of people to primary me. They're doing what they can. This lawsuit is totally bogus. As we were talking briefly, in the lawsuit it says he made me watch The Secret, or the company made me watch The Secret, which is doing.
It's not a secret anymore after that. Right?
But The Secret has nothing to do with religion.
Secret can be. It's a training. A lot of companies use it as training.
Oprah Winfrey promotes it. Ellen DeGeneres promotes it. All these people promote it as a positive thinking, and it's for our demo people because they deal with the public, and we need them to be positive and not negative and all bummed out, So it's just patently false on the face of it, and we have so much more information on it. So it's just crazy. But what happened was it got out to the media so fast before we even served, before we even knew it. I was actually blindsided because I had no idea it was even coming.
Well, okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. That's one of the reason why I'm actually throwing my hat in the ring again, because some of that crap's got to stop. Because if I'm coming after you and I'm going to sue you, I need to serve you first. I knew it was an issue when it went out to all the media outlets before it actually got to the person that was being sued. I knew this was politically motivated. I knew it in my gut, and then having the conversation. So
you haven't been served, Assemblyman?
Actually, we just got served yesterday, but we didn't get served
it's
before
been out
it all
for
came out.
A week now?
No, a couple weeks. Yeah. And another thing is the craziness of it is the liberal media is not willing to look at like say patently on the face says secret, and anybody knows that has nothing to do with religion, and yet they won't say anything about that. They'll just say all the other stuff negative. Right. They won't look into this girl's background to see that what she actually is or does. And we provide those facts, and the mainstream establishment media will not look at it. All they want to do is sensationalize that negative. Newsmax, however, Newsmax Las Vegas did a great article on it. They actually investigated. They interviewed the senior girl that works for us that was her supervisor. They actually, called around and asked, got background on the secret. Yeah. They actually did some investigation into it. So that was good. So I encourage you to go look at Newsmax. Did you guys post it on your website?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. Thank you, John.
Yeah, Newsmax is good. Well, and that's another thing, too, that is got to be frustrating about the media, because there is no such thing as hard news reporting anymore. Everything is commentary and everything is opinion-based.
Soundbite.
Yeah, everything is opinion-based now.
Well, you know what we have going on right now? We say, WWTD, what would Trump do? He's attacked constantly. But no publicity is bad publicity. Do you remember when he first said, we're going to build a wall? All the media was, you're crazy, you're insane, and his popularity just rose up. So I'm actually happy these guys did this because, one, the suit is just so, it's going to cost a little bit for legal fees, but it's just so bogus. But the thing of it is, Real Water's been promoted all over the media for the last few days. Our cars, our trucks, our company, everything. So we're getting good publicity out of it.
Well, that's good.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Steve, contribute, man. This is your radio show. Are you here?
I figured you might want to say something since you.
No, you guys got it covered.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, Assemblyman, we also. We did a Rhythm Kitchen, but we also want to thank you for helping us out with our endorsement interviews as being one of our sponsors. So we really appreciated that.
And you guys endorsed me this time around. I appreciate that too.
Yeah. That last time, Steve and I just kind of looked at each other and went, well, I think we might have to find a new sponsor.
Hey, I can roll with the punches.
Yeah.
I just hope that the thing of it is, when I get elected when you don't endorse me. When you do endorse me, I better get elected again. Right. Actually, I'm pretty far up in our polls, so I'm feeling good.
Well, I was going to ask you about how your race is going. I was really, it really frustrated me that none of your opponents showed up.
And they said they were confirmed?
Yeah. Especially, I don't know if he confirmed or not. I didn't talk to Steve, but I'm sure Tom Blanchard did, right?
He said he was going to show up.
And when I didn't see him, I was really surprised.
He kind of cowardly out.
Yeah. Because supposedly he said he's like a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Oh, a friend. He's an acquaintance, I would say. I think he probably voted against me because he was on my panel last time. Not the recent time, but the time before that.
Yeah, Tom Blanchard punked out, and I was going to use another word that starts with a P, but I'll just go with punk. He punked out because he told me he was going to be there, and I took him at his word that he was going to be there, and then he was a no-call, no-show.
Well, think of this, though. Tom's running against me. I had a stellar record for NPRI, Nevada Policy Research Institute, American Conservative Union. I'm ranked, Citizens Outrage ranked me number 8 as one of the most influential Republicans to watch this year. And here he is, he's running. Why run against somebody that's actually doing what Republicans are supposed to do? Well, you have a different agenda.
And the legislative scorecard, which is the conservative legislative scorecard, it ranked you as something in the 80s or something like that.
Yeah.
And Derek Armstrong was a 50, and Melissa Woodbury was a 20.
Yeah.
I was like, those are ridiculous numbers.
No, I was one that actually did what I campaigned on. I did what I said I would do. And what's sad about it is when you're up there in Carson City, I'm treated like I'm a leper, like I'm a bad guy, like I'm just like they're laughing, talking about me and stuff because I do what I said I do.
Yeah, you're outspoken.
Well, not just outspoken, but I do what I said I would do.
Right.
And then all the ones that are selling out and everything, they're treated like kings and
Right. The
wine
sellouts.
and dine.
Yeah.
And
But did you see what happened in Turkey the other day with their legislative session?
no, I didn't.
All out brawl.
All out brawl.
Hey, you know what? I've said that before. I've said, the decorum needs to go away. Man, we need to have a knockdown, drag out up
yeah.
there, because I'm telling you right now, some of that stuff, when
Well, we
I
are.
know-
You vote stupid and you cost
get-
Nevadans a lot of money. You should be knocked out.
Yeah, because when I forget who it was, but when Fiore said "set your ass down,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody blew
Chris
up, I'm
Edwards.
like, finally, somebody's got some skin to say some stuff.
Right,
like,
yeah.
you know what? Shut up, sit down.
Well, Michelle's good at that. She'll speak her mind.
Yeah, she says a few things that are kind of.
Well, you know what's funny, again, if you look at that? So Marilyn Kirkpatrick is the leader of the Democrats, right? She made a rant one time, was all upset and stormed out and was actually throwing an F-bomb and stuff. And then Michelle, she does the sit your ass down and goes out. And Paul Anderson and Hambrick kicked Michelle out so she can't come in. But when Marilyn did it, the Democrat, they shut everybody down, and we sat and waited till she calmed down for a whole hour. We waited, and then we just let her come back in with her team. It just shows you those guys up there, Paul Anderson and Hambrick. It's just so bad.
How come they're not Democrats and be done?
Well, they should. It's called integrity. So,
Yeah.
I say people vote for Democrats. Like, if you vote for Bernie Sanders and you get what Bernie Sanders says, then more power to you. But if you vote for somebody who says they're going to, lower your taxes, they're not going to increase taxes, and then they do the opposite, that's betrayal.
Look, I don't have a problem with somebody coming before us and say, hey, we're going to raise taxes. I want to raise taxes. Here's my belief system. I think that everybody should pay. Everybody should raise taxes and free stuff for everybody. At least they're honest. At least I know what I'm getting.
They're upfront.
But these backstabbers, I just can't
No,
stand.
it's sickening. And and they're led by our governor, our governor was out campaigning against the commerce tax, or question 3, the gross receipts tax, saying we need smaller taxes, all this stuff. That was during the election cycle. He gets elected. During the hearing on the tax, it comes out that his team, the guy said, they've been working for over a year and a half on this tax. So they admitted on the record. So the governor was blatantly lying during campaign season. And people are okay with that. Yeah. It's like, are you kidding? You want somebody to lie at you because they have a good smile? I mean, come on. Yeah, I'll give you a good smile and I won't lie.
Yeah, I think part of it with to like Hambrick and to Anderson, it's a numbers game, and that's what's scary, because they're those two assembly districts are one of the few in southern that have anything to do with Southern Nevada that are Republican.
Yeah, so you almost except the outskirts, right?
Right,
The rurals.
Yeah.
But yeah, you win those. You're like when Steve wins his primary, he's done pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's a Democrat in the race.
No.
So you're done.
Done.
But the problem with these guys is they just betray our trust and they lie over and over. So we've got to get them exposed. So that's why I say donate to Steve so he can get the truth out. Because what's great about Steve is he's willing to confront evil. When I say that, he's willing to confront people that are doing wrong, and I appreciate the shit. Ooh, can I say that?
Yeah.
The heck out of him for that.
The shit out of it. You appreciate the shit out of it.
I do, because you know what? Very few people are willing to do that, and we've got to get people that are willing. And like I say, if they don't agree with you, that's fine, but at least you're honest. And I love that you're exposing, again with Anderson, when we took over the caucus, Assembly caucus, we all voted we need to audit the PACs. Anderson, as soon as Hambrick and Emerson got a hold, they stopped that, even though they told us they would. Anderson spent, $250,000 to his crony consultants. He's not using the PAC money to help. Well, he used a little bit for his Rhino guys, but mostly just goes away. He uses his Amex and others, or not, in his black card. $40-something thousand, doesn't say where the money's going. It's corruptness that needs to be exposed, and people need to be willing to look at it.
Hambrick was corrupt when he was the chairman of the Clark County Republican Party.
Yeah, we don't have enough time. Steve and I don't have enough time to explain how much we know about.
Yeah.
Well, we know about Anderson right now. This is current events, not 8 years ago or whatever.
Well,
this is current events.
Well, Assemblyman, could you give us a closing statement?
Yes. Right now is the time to make Nevada great again. Let's take our state back. Fellow Republicans, we've got to vote with people that have integrity, people that stand for our Republican principles, which are lower taxes, less government. Otherwise, we're going to lose the state. People are already leaving the state in droves because of the stupid increasing fees from $100 to $500. The residence agency business is gone in Nevada. Thousands of companies have left. Where that was free money to us, where they'd come and they'd do their annual meetings. So we've got to take our state back. We've got to vote with people that are against the taxes and with the contract with Nevada and have integrity.
And your point of contact.
votebrentjones.com, and also contractwithnevada.com.
And if anybody want to see, you're going to be at the Rhythm Kitchen on May 11th, which is Wednesday, between 8 and 9 p.m.
To get my great award from
get your
VIP,
endorsement.
baby.
Yeah.
VIP.
Looking forward to seeing you, Assemblyman. So that's Assemblyman Brent Jones from Assembly District number 35.
35, baby. Southern Highlands, Mountains Edge.
This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas, and Troy Warren, veterans of politics, but don't go away, folks. Oh, Sean Connell. Sean Connell, who's running for Las Vegas Justice of the Peace. He's on next. Be right back.
Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services have been serving Nevada. Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services, the reliable option for your legal and tax matters. The original do-it-yourself legal source store with paralegals, registered document preparers, and enrolled agents to assist you when you need it. Need help getting divorced, starting your business, or just filing your taxes? Nevada Legal Forms is there for you. Nevada Legal Forms has over 1,000 legal forms and do-yourself kits for all your everyday matters. Nevada Legal Forms, the best place to start. Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services is not a law office or have attorneys on staff and cannot give legal advice.
Nevada Legal Forms, Charleston and Valley View. Call 702-870-0977 or online at nevadalegalforms.com.
Hi, my name's Annette Levy. Did you know that we usually elect judges based solely on name recognition? So here goes. My name's Annette Levy. My name's Annette Levy. My name's Annette Levy. Now, for those of you who might want to know a little more, I have 29 years legal experience, 15 years arbitrator, 11 years judge pro tem. I'm ethical. I'm experienced. I want to be your district court judge in Department 20. And by the way, my name's Annette Levy.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Annette Levy. If you'd like to know more, visit her website at electannette.com.
My name is Heidi Hanus, and I'm a marriage and family therapist. I recently opened my own practice under the name of Faith Individual and Family Counseling in the area of Summerlin. I have been practicing family therapy for 14 years, and I work well with individuals, children, teens, couples, and most of all, families. I have experience in a variety of areas, which include family conflict, communication issues, grief, anxiety, depression, anger issues, addiction, adjustment to life changes, trauma, and most forms of mood disorder. The agency work I have done has given me the experience to work with all levels of issues from severe to mild. I believe in change and positive outcome. If you are interested to begin change, you can reach me at 702-370-4244 or hanusa@cs.com. Thank you.
Paul Patta Law is a proud sponsor of Veterans and Politics. Attorney Paul Patta, a former federal prosecutor, is ready to fight for you. If you've been injured in a car accident, call Paul. Been a victim of a medical malpractice at the VA? Call Paul. Suffered a slip and fall? You better call Paul. Paul Patta Law, 702-366-1888. That's 702-366-1888. Or check us out on the web at paulpadda.com. That's paulpatta.com. You fought for our country, now let us fight for you at Paul Patta Law.
Oh, yeah. Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson, Troy Warren, Jim Jones, for Veterans of Politics. We have Sean Connell, who's a candidate for Las Vegas Justice of the Peace Department number 3, is it?
Correct.
Oh. Mr. Connell, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about you.
I've been in Las Vegas for the last 16 years. I originally grew up in Iowa. Went to
Iowa?
Yep. Went to college in Milwaukee. Went back to Iowa for law school. Graduated with honors in 2000. Came out here, passed the 2000 bar exam, and I've been practicing law ever since.
How many times it took you to pass that bar?
Once.
Oh. Not like William Horn took him like 5 times. He said.
I did it once, and actually I was lucky because when I moved out here, they only offered it once a year. Now they have it in July and February. But if I would have failed, I would have had to have waited full 12 months to take it again.
You would have interned for somebody or something like that.
I would have probably been looking for another state to take in February just to get one out of the way, because waiting 12 months to take it again, I imagine I would have forgotten everything that I learned. So
that's true. Why are you running against the incumbent?
This particular incumbent, or just an incumbent in general?
This particular one.
Well, the number of seats that were available for election this year, I think, was 6 or 7 in Justice Court. Mm-hmm. So I looked at all the different departments, tried to figure out which judges I thought were doing a good job, which one had higher approval ratings from the attorneys, and talked to a number of attorneys I know that practice in all the different Justice Courts, and just kind of got their opinions, narrowed it down to 2 or 3 departments that I was considering, and then looked at who else was already planning on running in those departments, and this became the obvious choice.
Was that the only reason, or was this?
It was based on whether or not the incumbent, in my opinion, is doing a good job, okay. And then also based on whether or not I thought the other candidates that I knew were going to run against that incumbent would be an improvement or not.
Okay.
And so I looked at it and thought that this is where I could do the most good.
So what makes you better than the incumbent?
Well, I think that you look at. I know obviously some people aren't big fans of the Review Journal's judging the judges poll, but there are a number of different.
You see how he looked at me when he said that?
Yeah. There are a number of different criteria that are discussed in there, and so efficiency, knowledge of the law, and correctly applying the law were the ones where the incumbent was rated very poorly.
Okay.
I also talked to a number of attorneys that appear before her regularly to make sure that they agree with that, and a lot of them have problems with the efficiency of the courtroom.
Gotcha.
There are hearings that are scheduled for 11 o'clock that don't start till 1:30.
Oh, that pissed me off.
And they're scheduled at 11 o'clock knowing that they're not going to start till 1:30.
Does she pay for the lawyers that's sitting there?
Nope. And so you asked how I would improve it or why I would be a better candidate. Obviously, one thing would be keep the caseload moving along, right, and also be realistic with scheduling. If you know that you're not going to get to it till 1:30, don't schedule it till 1:30.
Right.
And if you happen to get done at 11:30, 12 o'clock with the calendar in the morning, you can find something productive to do with that time.
Right.
You can sign orders, you can read motions, you can do things in your chambers because you're already there. You don't need to make everybody else sit around waiting for you. So that's one of the reasons that I think I would be an improvement, is that I would be conscious of that and actually try to prevent people from having to sit around wasting their time, try and be more efficient. I also am confident in my knowledge of the law and my intelligence, my ability to correctly apply the law, so I think that would also be an improvement.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
You play ball?
I played basketball up until my sophomore year in high school, and then I had some friends that were putting together a volleyball team, asked me if I wanted to come play.
Volleyball is good too.
Found out I was good at it, and so that's what I stuck with, and ended up playing in college as well.
Oh, wow. Go ahead, Jim.
Just for the listeners, obviously Steve and I and Troy get it, but can you just tell the listeners exactly what Justice Court Department 3, what kind of cases you hear?
Sure.
Just to explain the different, because a lot of people don't know the different courts.
Right, and let me start by clearing up a common misconception first. It's not a geographic district that is represented by number 3. Right. All of the Las Vegas Justice Courts cover Las Vegas Township.
This is Tony Abatangelo's OC, right?
Correct.
Did you get his endorsement, by the way?
I have not heard anything from him. I spoke to him at the Veterans in Politics endorsement interviews, but I haven't seen him since that.
Will we call him for you and say, hey, endorse Sean Connell?
Sure. All right. I'd appreciate it. So, but getting back to that, so there's 14 justice courts in Las Vegas Township. They all cover the same geographic area, so it's not like a Senate district or an Assembly district. And Las Vegas Township is it's the entire city of Las Vegas, as well as parts of Clark County. Henderson has their own justice court. North Las Vegas has their own justice court. So does Boulder City, Laughlin, Mesquite, obviously. So if you have a Las Vegas mailing address, I will be on your ballot. Now, Department 3 currently has a civil calendar. It has had a criminal calendar in the past. I'm not sure what will happen with it because it was not statutorily designated as a pure civil department. But the jurisdiction for Justice Court handles misdemeanor trials, felony preliminary hearings to determine if there's probable cause to bind it over to trial in district court, and then civil cases valued under $10,000. So it's a lot of the landlord-tenant disputes, small claims cases, things of that nature.
That's got to be a thrill a minute.
Well, you know what? I have done a lot of landlord-tenant stuff, and also have handled some small claims cases, and every case is unique, and I think that if you approach it the right way, it's still enjoyable.
So what's your take on Veterans Court?
I'm in favor of it. I like all of the specialty courts because I do think that if we can stop treating everybody exactly the same when there are different issues, different crimes, whatever the case may be, we need to approach them individually and try and figure out the best way to try and help the individuals that are involved to make sure that they don't recommit crimes. So cut down on recidivism. If you can offer people treatment, structured program to go through, they come out the other side having learned their lesson, paid their debt, but then being in a position to move forward rather than falling back into the same cycle, then it's a benefit.
Okay. Also, Sean, I'm trying to think back how long ago this was, but anyway, there was a move to try to get judges to kind of adjust their penalties, so to speak, to kind of try to, be a little more realistic with sentencing, so that way it would alleviate some of the overcrowding in the detention center. Are you a fan of that? Well, I know there was some backlash on it because, some people were saying that's a good idea, but then there was also the other parts that were saying, well, so what are we going to do now? We're not going to properly punish people?
And I think it depends on the case and the individuals involved. And obviously, if you can find a way to make sure that someone is held accountable and come up with a proper penalty that does not require jail time, then I'm in favor of that. But we do need to have personal responsibility. People need to be held accountable for their actions. There are a lot of nonviolent crimes where there are alternatives, and whether it's something like house arrest or if it's a probation, and it can be very strict or more lenient depending on what's required. But you can require people to check in on a regular basis. You can require drug testing. You can require people to do community service. So there are alternatives to locking people up. I do think that there are people that belong in jail, and there's no other answer. But there are also people that being sent to jail is not what's best for them, and it's not what's best for us as a community, because if there was an alternative that could prevent them from going to jail, but again, still need to be held accountable and still need to have personal responsibility. But if there's a way that you can do that without sending them to jail, potentially not losing their home, losing their job, which puts them back into the cycle where they're just going to commit more crimes anyway. So I am in favor of it, but it has to be in the right situation, and it has to be the right individuals, the right cases.
How do you feel on the legislature putting out judicial mandates? In other words, like minimum sentencing for specific crimes?
I think that mandatory minimums has proven to be a disaster, and especially more so at the federal level. Right. But I think that there has to be some judicial discretion, because the laws are written to encompass a very broad group of people. We can't have individual laws for individual people, so we just need to come up with something that is what's best for the majority. But there are also circumstances in specific cases where there has to be some judicial discretion. So I don't think that a mandatory minimum allows judges to do their job. There needs to be the ability to consider all of the facts of the case and then correctly apply the law. So having some discretion is necessary.
Okay. Well, okay, along those same lines, then what about the 3 strikes? What's your thoughts on that? Because sometimes I think that goes a little overboard, based on what on your conversation about each individual case, so on and so forth. Because you got a guy that's smoked. Well, now it's legal, but they're doing drugs and they get caught 3 times, and now all of a sudden they've got a 50-year sentence or a 25 to life or whatever. I think that's a little overboard.
And Nevada does have a habitual offender program where you can seek to have somebody certified as a habitual criminal, and the penalties are stiffer. I do think that when someone's given an opportunity to pay their debt and go through whatever the penalty is, whether it's probation, jail time, whatever the case may be, and they don't learn their lesson, then there's an argument that it needs to be a stiffer penalty next time. I do think that if it's a hard, fast rule that 3 strikes and, life in prison, then that does remove some of the discretion, and that's a little too harsh. But I am in favor of, once an individual's been given a second chance and they've proven that they're too stupid to take advantage of it, then they should be punished for it.
Okay. And then, so when you're sentencing these people to, let's say they're going to prison, like, do we actually have prisons now that have like serious hard time, like breaking rocks and doing things of that nature, or is it just like the country clubs that? Because I don't know, I don't understand how the prison system, or do you even know if there's any kind of rehabilitation that actually takes place in that? And have you seen that in your courtroom where somebody's actually come back from prison and goes, wow, this guy actually took advantage of it?
Well, and just so you know, with justice court, I'm not going to be sending anyone to prison.
Oh, okay.
Because it's only misdemeanor trials. And if it's a felony where somebody's actually facing that serious jail time, I'm going to decide whether or not there's enough evidence to warrant sending it to district court to have the trial.
Okay.
So when you get to that level, that's going to be the district court that's making those decisions. But to kind of answer your question, I don't think that it's a country club, but I also don't think that there's a lot of work crews or anything else. They do have programs for counseling and treatment. It's just a question of, is there enough of it, and do people take advantage of it? And based on recidivism rates, I'd say that it's pretty clear that people don't take advantage of the resources that are there.
So, Sean, we only got a couple minutes left. So with that, can you tell the listeners, give them a point of contact, why they should vote for you?
Sure. I've got a website at electseanconnell.com, and it's SEANCONNELL. Also have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so if you just search Sean Connell, you can find all of that. The contact information is on the website, but phone number is 702-384-2085, and the email address is Sean Connell at electseanconnell.com. I think that based on what I've done over the last 16 years, I've been named one of the top 100 litigators in the state. Twice I've been named to the Nevada Legal Elite. I help out with rescued animals, volunteer my time with youth sports. Like I said, I play volleyball, so I've done a lot of coaching, both high school and club level, on a volunteer basis. So I am trying to make our community a better place, and if given the opportunity in the courtroom, I would continue to do the same.
Well, we want to thank you for receiving the endorsement for Veterans in Politics, and you're going to be at the Rhythm Kitchen May 11th between 8 and 9 p.m.?
Correct.
Okay.
I actually have a board meeting for the charity I mentioned. It's USA Cares. Our board meeting's the second Wednesday of every month, but it's at 6 o'clock, so as soon as that ends, I will head over to
You know what?
Rhythm
You
Kitchen.
should bring your board members. Tell them to come on over there and what you get endorsed.
If I can convince them to drive over from the North Las Vegas Mini City Hall, I will try and bring them along, but that's where we've got our office and hold our meetings.
Okay. That's Sean Connell. He's a candidate for Las Vegas Justice Department number 3, and he's also a Veterans in Politics endorsee recipient. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas, and Troy Warren, Veterans in Politics. But folks, don't go away. We have a special 2-hour show today, and we're going to have Amy Groves. We'll be back momentarily.